How y'all doing today? So I wanted to hop on real quick and talk about how to be successful as an athlete. I don't think there's enough blueprint out there from a mental aspect of how to be successful. Because when you play in sports, the thing that you have to realize is that you have to have your mind together. And so the mental side of becoming an athlete and being an athlete and doing all of the things that are required of you to be a successful athlete um, is not talked about enough. So jumping right in, the mental side of being an athlete is something really you don't really understand what it takes until you become an athlete. And so a lot of things that happen to a lot of different athletes are unfair because they expect the standards of an athlete to be a lot higher than just the average person because for whatever reason I don't understand that they think athletes are not human. And so we as athletes are very human. And so a lot of times we're asked to be superhuman in most cases and act outside of normal ramifications when certain situations arise. So to be successful as an athlete, you have to have self-control in every situation. We see it, and we see it in everyday life now, where you have an athlete act off an impulse and make a mistake, and that mistake may cost them their career. And so, by them just acting off an impulse, being human, now they've lost everything. They've lost their career. They've lost relationship. They've lost their money. Um, Most of the time, those things can be avoided if they just have self-control. And so, by you learning to have self-control as an athlete, you can save yourself from a lot of heartaches and a lot of pain from these situations that arise. So, the first thing you have to learn as an athlete is self-control. The second thing is decision making. You have to learn to make the right decision even when it's hard, because you as an athlete are afforded a certain level of I can't even you're afforded a certain level of grace because you're an athlete, and so they look at athletes like somebody that's supposed to be at a higher level, a higher standard. But like I said before, we're just human. But what tends to happen as an athlete, sometimes we think that because we're an athlete, we can do certain things. We can say certain things, or we can get away with certain actions because people know, like, and trust us. But I think that's where the decision making piece comes into play, because if you make the wrong decision at the wrong time, it can derail everything. And the people that you thought were in your corner and they had your back, you quickly learn that they don't. So the decision making comes into a big play when most of the time when it's a heightened situation, when you have a situation that's gotten out of control. You see a lot of domestic cases with a lot of athletes and their significant other, where nobody ever really cares about what happens with the person that they're dealing with, but more so with the athlete. And the athlete is the one that's scrutinized at a higher level because they should have had enough wherewithal to know more, to know better, and to make the better decision, because they may have had, you know, millions of dollars or whatever. Then people place a big importance on money nowadays when with these certain athletes because they should have known better because they're getting paid all these millions of dollars but that's really not true. That's really not a thing that because they make money they should know better. A lot of these pro athletes that are getting in these situations with these domestic cases, they're just making bad decisions. And some of those decisions came before they even had money and dealing with the people that they deal with and choosing to surround themselves with the people they surrounded themselves with. So that's the decision making piece of it as well. Knowing your circle, choosing the people around you carefully. They have to have your best interest at hand and they have to understand the level of risk that you have as an athlete. And so because you don't make those decisions early on to be with the right crowd, they come back to bite you. Your circle could be the demise of your career. And so making that right decision early to be around good people, to keep people around you that are in your best interest is critical to your future as an athlete. Moving on, the next thing more so for my young athletes, just starting out in sports or trying to find your way, is to first start out with the belief in yourself. When you believe in yourself as an athlete, the world starts to open up because you start to see, okay, well, I can be better than what I am. I can be a good athlete, but it all starts with your mind and what you believe. If you believe you're never gonna be big, you're never gonna be strong, you're gonna approach the game with that. You're gonna approach your workouts with that. You're gonna approach your practice with that. But you shouldn't, because if you want to do something, you can do it. Plain and simple. Now, given you may not be the tallest, you may not be the strongest, you may not be the fastest or whatever, but those things can be worked on. You can't grow taller, but you can work on your efforts. You can work on the way you approach the game by studying it, by being a student of the game, and you can make sure you're the best teammate out there if you're playing a team sport. And so all of those things are a critical part, but it starts with belief. If it starts there, bar one. Now, one thing that one of my coaches, when I got into college, would always talk about seeing yourself doing and being successful. And that's one of the things that I've kept with me for a long time. And it's just visualizing yourself being successful. And so once you start to visualize yourself being successful, you start to become what you think about. And that 1 year that we really harped on seeing yourself doing good things, we ended up winning conference championship. And we did some good things that year. Ended up going to Hawaii for the Hawaii Bowl. And, it was just all around good. But it started with the belief that we could do it. And it started with seeing ourselves doing good things. And so once we saw that we were able to do good things, the sky is the limit. Because we started to see it in real time, not just in our mind. But that's what I'm saying now. It starts in the mind. Once you realize that what you see is only a replica of what you've seen in your mind, then you start to realize that, okay, well, if I can see myself doing this, I can be more, I can do more, and I can become more. And then the game starts to change from there on out. No matter what you're doing, whatever you go on to be doing in life from that point on, you can see more, you can do more, and you can be more.